Never mind.
Documented.
Oh, live.
Live.
Oh, okay, no.
Live.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, good evening, practically.
Yes. Good night.
Good night for him and good
Ryan.
night for him, the two Ronnies, isn't it?
Well, the way the
Right, so our subject is politics and the church, politics in the church. Yeah? Something like that, anyway. Politics, church, anyway.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, so why? Well, actually, for a number of reasons, but one of them being,
Video has saying the video has no sound. No.
who said that?
Angelica's, but oh mine. Oh, now it's on. That was strange. That's weird. So,
I'm
I'm glad that
I think
I think these things are cool. I think it's all right. It's definitely picking us up on
YouTube.
YouTube.
So interesting enough, we'd already sort of talked about this title and so forth, and then I've been seeing some certain things.
Someone wants to be in your video. Christopher Sawyer.
What's it say?
It said Christopher Sawyer is watching and then he's requested to join.
Bring him on then.
Should we bring him
Yeah,
on?
if you want to.
Yeah.
Let's see what you've got to say. We'll cut some
us
people.
off,
Oh, it's
innit?
all right. It doesn't matter. Or is it? Yeah.
I don't know. I think he has to accept as well.
Yeah, unless he made a mistake, but
Maybe, yeah.
no, it doesn't matter anyway. No, just wait. If he wants to come on,
It'll come up.
if he wants to come on, let him come on. It's cool because I'm hoping that today, whoever comes on watching will actually jump in and join the conversation, because I think it's really, at least for Christians anyway, it's an important conversation. I guess for some others who are not really bothered about church, they don't care, and that's fine. If they don't care, they don't have to care. But I think there's a few things that I believe that we can actually talk about.
Yeah, I think he might have done it by
Yeah.
accident.
So I'll cut that off.
He's still watching. You can see there's like 7 people.
So
yeah, it's clicked itself off.
Yeah, one of the things that
He said
he said, what?
both the same, but with different points of view. Talking about politics and the church.
Yeah. Well, this is it, because one of the reasons why I chose to talk about this was actually something that was preempted. I by things I'd seen from other people's posts. And one of the issues is that there was talk, as we know, people are right now at this time voting for the next president of the United States of America.
Yeah.
And we're talking about 2 particular people. But when they're voting, as you quite know, the vote isn't just about the person. It's not just about whether or not you like Donald Trump or whether you like Biden. Afternoon, Gerald.
Hello, Gerald.
It is political.
Yes.
Aside from it being political, it is also what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just the political aspect of it in terms of which party, but there is also, for Christians, for Bible believing people, there is an aspect to it from our understanding of what we expect or what we should expect, as Christians. So I've seen people saying, no, that pastors are being, what are you guys doing? Because it's quite distracting.
Sorry, they just keep saying that there's no sound on the video, though. On the page.
Well, as long as if any of you guys are not hearing us, please let us know. But as far as I'm aware, I think you should be able to hear us. So
yes, it's okay now. It was like frozen for a second. That's why, but it's
it's okay. So what I realized whether we like it or not, particularly for the Christians anyway, we do have to think about politics. We can't just, be in isolation. Well, because I'm a Christian, I shouldn't think about politics. Well, you have to think about it because you're in the world, and most of us are going to vote. Now, the interesting thing, and that's probably another conversation, but I'll just mention it right now up front. Those who choose not to vote and who will turn around and say, well, I'm not going to vote, I exercise my right not to vote. That's okay, because by the way, the only way of being political is not just to vote for, a president or a member of parliament. There's a lot more to it than that. And this is probably the biggest issue, particularly and especially for Black people, that the only thing that many Black people consider in politics is to vote for, in the case of the UK, a member of parliament or a county councillor or city councillor or something like that. I don't know what Esha said there.
Also a Donald T fan, just thought I should throw this out there.
Yes, Esh. I'm also
I know.
I'm also a Donald Trump fan in some ways.
Yeah, in some ways.
But what I'm trying to say is a lot deeper than that, because the thing is that people have said, and it's been, and at least for those who know, it's been an argument with the Christians. If you're a Christian, you should not be trying to influence people about who they should vote for.
Why?
So on the surface, that sounds okay, but then now I got some questions around that, and this is where the questions come from that I want to ask, because now, there are people who are saying that you should just leave people alone, let them make their own choice. Okay, leave people alone to make their own choice. First of all, anyway, and then of course, people get deep. You don't live in the States, so what does it have to do with you and all this kind of stuff? Well, everything that happens in America, USA, United States of America, has some forbearance on the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So it does have something to do with us. We may not be literally the ones voting, but certainly from a Christian perspective, which is okay for those who don't pray, but I do, and the others who do, we believe also that our prayers have an influence. Yeah. So for us, we need to be directed in how to pray. Mm-hmm. Having said that, when we look at the issues on a deeper level, this is where it matters. I don't know what's he saying there.
How has your life changed in the last 4 years? Maybe we have to just live our lives.
But the world has changed.
Yeah.
Because the politics of the United States of America
completely
does influence the world.
It's not even the same as it was.
And the world is definitely different. And that's there's some things, I don't know how deeply I want to get into all of that. Because is it church that we're talking about with some of that or not? But let's say, for instance, before Donald Trump became the president, dirty pedophiles were very busy and very active all over the world. And those of you who've been, with us for quite some time on the lives, we've given you statistics about the biggest consumers of pedophilia media, let's say, in the world are the United States of America. Yeah. So it does matter, right? And Donald Trump, idiot as he may be, that he doesn't know how to speak to people properly. No, well, he doesn't know how to make a political speech. I could teach him all of those things, but to be fair, he doesn't want to know, and he doesn't need to know. And here's the reason why he doesn't need to know, because that's not what he's there for. He's not there to be a career politician. He's not there to show people how to be, skilled in oratorical skills or to sway crowds or to influence people and win friends. Yeah. He's not there for any of those reasons. He's there basically to stick a pole up the butt of the system. And when I say the system, I mean the evil agendaed system, which he has not been part of in the way that they wanted him to be. We're not saying that he hasn't been a part of it any at all. So don't get my words wrong, and that's why I speak the way I do. But he has not been a part of it the way that they wanted him to be, and he has stood against so many of the things that even Christians, the church, should be standing against. Say, let's take up one of those for example, what we've just mentioned, the pedophiles. We've talked about that, extensively, and you guys, you can chip in as you want, with this, because this is free today. We're just free in this, and likewise, you guys who are watching, please put your comments and talk with us. Your comments. Tell us what you're thinking and what you're saying about what we're talking about. because it is 100% fact that without him sitting in that position, many children, and we're talking, multiple thousands of children,
hundreds of thousands,
would have been tortured, abused, and lost forever. Literally and metaphorically lost forever. Some would have been kept alive and used. Some would have been sacrificed. Now, none of those things are a lie. There's plenty of worldwide evidence to prove that is a fact. So now, when we look at that from a Christian perspective, why would I not pray that Donald Trump will sit on that throne, if you like, of the United States of America for another 4 years, because that's all he can get.
Exactly.
Yes, I would. I might not like him. Oh, is Donald Trump racist? Listen, let me tell you something, just so you understand, because some people are living in a fairyland.
Yes.
A lot of white people, especially the ones who have money, are racist. Don't fool yourself.
How do you think they came about that money? Right? How do you think they came about the elite people in the society? If the society that we live in is already geared towards black people not prospering, etc., look at how the system works and all them things. What do you think is going on? The ones there at the top are racist, and Trump is not any more racist than the ones that pretend that they're not.
Don't fool yourself. Biden is what? Biden is racist. Just to say.
Do people even know he was like some Ku Klux Klan? That's what
I mean. And the number one thing, he's a paedophile.
Yes.
Right? Going around sniffing children.
Sniffing
children. Right? And sniffing them is the only part that we know about.
Exactly.
Right?
I don't even want to know.
You see? And that's because it's like an animal. You see? He's like a wolf.
That's why in them pictures you see, he's telling, he wants the child to come and stand it, and then he's touching her hand and all this, and
smelling their hair and stuff,
and all these things. This is not normal behavior.
And this is what we got to understand. Now, all good and well. But what does that have to do with the church? The church, they should keep quiet and stay out of it. No, you can't. No, you can't. And here, we're just starting off at this level. There's a lot. And I'm going to just try and hit some of the points, because we can't touch everything, right? But let's stay on the paedophilia for a while, right? Because the issue of what the church has to say. Read for me, please.
It's a long one.
It's okay. Go on.
It says the government lays at the shoulder of Jesus Christ. So as Christians, we should be involved in matters of our government. From the Old Testament, there was no president or king without a prophet. Church has a very key role to politics. Otherwise, Proverbs 29:2 says, when the righteous flourish, the people rejoice. But when the godly are in authority, people rejoice. But when the wicked are in power, they groan. English Standard Version, when the righteous increase, the people. And then Christopher's written a comment here now as well.
Go on.
It says, what we buy as a whole, I'd brought and sold in the American dollar. I am living in Panama, and here there are strong views, being a pretty religious country. Donald Trump said it himself. He is a businessman. So to advise on the political stance, well, Black Lives Matter, because they have both proclaimed, without our vote, none of them would win. So I question both of their views. It is called Illuminati. This is why you could disappear without thought. True fact.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, to in answer first to what Esther has said, absolutely. We have a responsibility as church. Now, okay, those who are not church, fine. I can't talk to you too much. Not today anyway. But you know, I have seen preachers telling people that you are wrong to try to influence people politically. But you're not wrong, because we must. I mean, like I said, we've mentioned one thing, which was the paedophilia issue. Now we know for a fact that there have been plenty of you know, and we're talking into the hundreds of Catholic priests, bishops, and cardinals who have been accused and caught in paedophilia.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why that has happened, you know, in this sort of last 4-year period has been because of Donald Trump sitting where he sat. And he has pushed and pushed and pushed that particular agenda. Now, we're talking of something that has gone on for hundreds and hundreds of years. And particularly within the Catholic Church, which I will say emphatically, at the expense of some Catholics being upset and angry with me, it is not a church.
No, it's not.
There may be people who go to the Catholic Church, that Catholic system, who are following Christ.
Yeah.
But the Catholic Church as a system is a Babylonian system. It is a Babylonian church built on Babylonian principles. Hence, even the reason why they dress and look the way they do. All right?
Oh, okay. She's
yeah, go on, read it.
She said, I mean, when the righteous are in power, the righteous flourish. So we must push for the righteous leader in power as a church. Otherwise, everyone seems corrupt. May God help us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. That.
Absolutely. And how do we decide? Yes, church is not a religion or a denomination. Correct.
No, it's not.
Correct. It's not. It's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's more than that. How do we decide who is the righteous and who isn't when it comes, you know, in terms of politics?
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do unless somebody has put himself there and said, I am Archbishop so and so or Apostle so and so, and I'm running for president. And now apparently Pastor Tunde Bakari in Nigeria has said he's running for president. I might get onto that and say something about it afterwards, but just in case people didn't know, I'll just put it out there for you. And he's very well connected in Nigeria. One of the largest and well-known ministry, particularly financially. Now here's the issue. We have to look at what they are saying and doing, and we have to look at how that matches up and lines up with what we're supposed to believe as a church.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you have a candidate, as they do, who says, the number one thing I'm going to do when I get into power is to promote the Baphomet agenda.
I knew that's what
right? Now, okay, I've used a term that some of you might not understand. So let me clarify what I mean by the Baphomet agenda. The Baphomet agenda is the LGBTQA P agenda.
Yeah, let's not pretend the P ain't there.
Because the P is there. It stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, where have I reached to? LGBTQ, queer, asexual, and P, pedophile. Right? That is the Baphomet agenda. We've done a live on it. Go back and have a look, and you can find out some more information if you wish. Okay? Yeah. But this is the issue, that you've got to look at what these people are saying.
Yeah.
So for people to say, don't be political, you're the church, you're Christian, stay out of it. But we're Christians and they expect us also to vote. Exactly. We're Christians, they expect to take our taxes.
Yeah.
Some of us will work even within the same system itself. So how then can we be told stay out of the politics or let the politics stay out of the church? Neither can we stay out of the politics, and neither does the politics stay out of the church.
They don't stay out the church.
And for instance, like I just said, with the Baphomet agenda, this candidate, we're talking about USA, by the way, first, he has said that he is going to promote that agenda and make sure that it's pushed even harder than it was. The previous number 44 did the same thing. And 45 looked to turn some of those things back.
What's Joe comment says, what is God's reasons for spreading the virus? God didn't.
Okay. Gerald, I will come back to that. And I'm going to answer that because in fact, let me answer it straight away before I even go on. Not everything that happens in the world can be attributed to God.
Yeah.
All right. For those who believe in God, that's we understand this very well from our perspective because we know that there is more than one force at work. If you even didn't want to say that you believe in God and you're only looking at men as men, there are some men who are evil, wicked, and downright disgusting, and there's some who are not. And you cannot expect to tar everybody with the same brush. The behavior of those who have evil intentions is not the same as those who have good intentions. So now when we understand it from that perspective and we look now, the agenda of COVID-19 is bigger than just blaming it on is it God or not?
Yeah,
because
it's not even just a virus.
Because this is we need to understand, and it's not even a simple thing to answer in a few words. That God has given man the authority on the earth.
Yeah.
God gave man the authority on the earth in the book of Genesis chapter 1. And when God gave man the authority on the earth, he left it to man to decide how and what to do on the earth. And hence the reason why we have the level of wickedness that we do on the earth, because God has left man to run their affairs on the earth. So we have some who will consult God, and we have some who are consulting other means other than the Almighty God, in which they use to run the affairs of the earth, the affairs of men. It's not God that has put COVID to anybody.
It's like present
And it's not a case of winning either. It's not a case of who's winning, because it's not winning. If you want to look at it that way, there is also what we have to understand, that there's a time scale to everything, and it is now time for what is happening to happen. That's what we've got to understand, that there are certain things that are happening because it is the time for those things to happen. Now, I could, I don't want to get too deep into that because, some of these things are like a whole thing all by itself.
Yeah.
But this is not a competition about who's winning because it's good over evil. God is always in control. God is always in charge. He allows certain things because they have a time course to run and to finish. So it may seem to some, that they could look at it and say, well, it means evil is winning because of the COVID, and but there's an agenda behind all of that, and part of the agenda was disruption because of what 45 has been doing, and they knew we need to have something very solid because they knew it was coming. He warned them that I'm coming after you, and I'm coming after you very hard.
And that's why he's even said to Hillary,
they knew
4 years ago, if I was the president, you'd be in jail.
Right?
He weren't joking.
So they knew, and they had to put something that would trip up this whole plot and plan worldwide, because this is what's needed. Now the thing is, they need to be exposed for who they are. They need to be exposed for what they are. They need to be exposed for what's in their heart. So this is not a case of that they're winning because they've released COVID across the world, because for us who trust and believe in God, we'll stand against anything. And the fact is that in terms of them saying, well, who will die and who will not die, they're not God. So no matter what they do or say, they don't have the control over who will die or who won't die. They just don't.
There's a few comments.
Yes, go on. Go backwards.
I'll read Esther's first. Esther said, Isaiah 45, God used a heathen to align his will to his people. So God uses anything when it comes to his agenda to be fulfilled.
That's correct.
Trump could just be that heathen king to fulfill God's agenda.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Christopher has just commented saying, God has not spread this virus. This virus is something spread to dominate the weak. Blame the powers that be. If God caused this virus, why does it not attack and annihilate the strong? Think about this. After all, Trump has had COVID-19 2 times, but there he is preaching on his pulpit. Well, when he had corona, remember, my man was walking himself to the hospital.
And hands and thumbs up and all of this. You know, they're taking people as if we're stupid.
Yes.
Right?
Because they've indoctrinated.
You know, and this it's a big game of social control.
Yes.
You know, and that's what this whole COVID business is all about.
So and you know, people on the road start to police you.
Yeah.
They don't even know you.
People who have nothing to do with you are busy coming up to you and telling you get a mask on and all of this type of thing.
They don't even know what's
and they have no right to do that anyway. We are all private citizens with all the same amount of rights on this earth, and all of those things are nonsense. You know, so having said that, now back to the other part of the issue, that there are particular preachers who are telling others you should not influence, you know, people within your congregations or people who may be within your hearing. You should not influence them, you know, politically.
Right.
Well, how in the world can you not influence them politically? When even the very simplest thing, like let's say, for instance, let's now use the UK as an example. As of Thursday, the UK is back in total lockdown.
Yeah. Because even now, apparently, restaurants are closing and everything.
Everything is in lockdown from Thursday. So they've now said there's been, you know, immediately there was there's a group that I'm part of called Christian Concern. Immediately they'd put out to all the members, you know, let's start praying and let's start rallying MPs, etc. And I was reading it because sometimes you've got to use wisdom. Rallying the MP is going to be a waste of time because they've already, whether they say they've debated on it yet or not, they've already agreed the agenda.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. They're saying that churches, along with other things, will close once again. You know, so you'll not be able to go to a church. You'll not be able to. They've not made clarity on outdoor meetings yet.
No, they haven't.
Last time you were able to you were able to hold outdoor meetings. Who's this?
There's a few comments actually. There's 2 more.
Oh, Junior. Oh, that's good. Okay, Junior. Yes. Good to see you on, Junior. Good.
Oh, somebody else has written a comment through his Facebook. Oh, I was wondering. It didn't make sense.
What? No, it's him. But.
And then there's.
So what's this one?
Yeah.
Everything. Like Spanish flu that has passed, but today we are more educated. Exactly. This is the thing that when it comes to the understanding of, you know, as a Christian, your whole ideology about the politics, we should be involved because we are involved by default.
We don't get to live our life unless we decide to, you know, go and be in the bush. And even then, they're trying to stop us from living like that in the first place. We don't get to just live our lives away from all these political things.
No, you don't.
It affects us every single day.
So the thing is that for the church, then, they've got to have some kind of wisdom of how to deal with politics, the political agenda. You know, and also not just that we have to understand how to deal with the political agenda. If you have to have a voice, your voice is not just to vote. Now, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Those who are already in power would love for your voice only to be heard by the X that you put on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then after that, they tell you, you have voted for me, you have put your trust in me, and we represent you. It is a lie. I trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't trust in any politician, because at least 99.9% of them are liars. It's probably only 0.1% that isn't, right? With their own evil agendas. And that's worldwide. That's not just UK, USA. It is worldwide. Kenya, we know the story there. There are lunatics in politics.
It's grapes. And they're done.
Gerald put, I am in the bush and it is great. And then Christopher said, totally, 5G is a massive problem here. We need to understand this. Well, this is the thing, Gerald. I think as well, they've decided because people were catching on to the 5G, they distracted everybody. Yeah, they quietened that off.
Gerald will come on or not? Is that real?
Well,
It's showing on there.
Oh, did it say he wants to come on? Oh, do you want to join, Gerald, or was it a mistake? I don't know.
Well, press it and see.
I'm not even reading that comment.
The food that she's eating.
Oh, there's Christopher's tried to come on and Gerald, but I don't think you can have both. Who should I put?
I think you can, you know.
They wouldn't give you a list if you couldn't.
Yeah, man. Which one is it? This one. Ah, see, it's this. So it's one at a time, but then you can add them later. Yeah, see, it's not taking it off. So you can add them later on.
Okay, anyway, let's keep.
They might be trying to mash us up anyway with this.
Let's keep going, because we don't, you know, they might not too like what we're doing and mess around with us.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you are a Christian and you're told, don't be political, it's like as if saying they're telling you don't be alive.
Yeah.
Because right now, like I said, in the UK, as of Thursday, they have determined something on a political level. Right? And what they've determined on a political level will affect, take off that. Just take it off. What they've determined on a political level is going to affect us as Christians. In terms of what you're doing, in terms of worship and so on and so forth. Now that's only one point, and we're going to go deeper, because this is my point that we started off talking about, you know, those ones at that level in terms of the politics, Trump and Biden, because you know, I've seen a few posts where people are really gone crazily angry against their Christian brothers and sisters. How dare you try to influence people to vote either for, you know, one or the other? Well, the thing is that you will do that, because, for instance, if like one candidate says he's promoting the Baphomet agenda, he also says that he is promoting for abortion, etc. And the other candidate is against those things. He is against the Baphomet agenda. He is against, you know, easy peasy abortion and all these type of things. Well, as a Christian who should understand the foundational principles upon which we as Christians are supposed to stand, we should have an understanding of who makes more sense to back. Because now you're not backing them because whether you like the charisma of the person, you like the way he speaks, you like because he's white or black. It's got nothing to do with any of that. But when they are bringing things into place which are going to affect you in a very positively absolute way, you need to understand that.
Sleepy Biden.
Yes, it looks, of course. But you know, we cannot pretend that those things don't matter.
Yeah,
you see.
Because when your child is going to school and all these things in the world, what you have to be. Do you know what I mean? You can't just let them.
You don't have to be of the world.
Yeah, you don't have to be of the world to live in the world. That's exactly it. If your child is going to school and they're getting taught by these teachers and etc., you know, if you're just going to be there, oh no, I can't vote and I'm not getting involved in politics. Well, don't be surprised when your child is learning about some things that you do not want them to learn about. Because
Well,
that will come.
exactly. Let me tell you, right now, I can tell you, I personally, I thank the Almighty that at this present moment in time, I don't have very small children. Right? And why do I say that? I say it simply because of this, because right now in this country, in the United Kingdom, in England, let's say, because there's slight differences in Wales and Scotland and Ireland. In England right now, we have a serious problem, right? So if I had small children right now, I would be in serious conflict with the school on a very regular basis. As was the case recently in Birmingham, when they decided that they are now going to teach in school. And these were just, I don't know the years properly, but they were like 6 and 7 year old, whatever year that is.
Year 2.
Right? They're going to be teaching them about gay and lesbian sex. They were going to teach them about oral sex, and they were going to teach them about the agenda of having 2 dads or 2 mums. Now, listen to me. Number one, it is your own business if that's what you're into, right? You don't have to make me agree with it, and I don't have to agree. Secondly, I wouldn't sit here and discuss what I like or don't like sexually, because none of your business.
That's what I mean.
Right? But here's the thing. As a Christian, you cannot lock my mouth and tell me that I shouldn't talk. And this is political, because it is politicians who have introduced that and said it is now law. They are legally allowed to teach young children such rubbish nonsense. Even whether you agree with the agenda of what behavior they have or not, at that young age, they don't need to know about those things. It serves no purpose whatsoever. But yet in this country, it is law. It is legal. They have books which they are giving and introducing. Now, what happened in Birmingham, in that particular school where there were a lot of Muslim families, they withdrew their children, and they were almost wanting to knock the school down. You know? They almost wanted to knock the school down. They were going absolutely crazy about it, saying, no, we're not having it. And now here's the thing. Lots of Christians were sitting on the fence.
What are you sitting on the fence for?
I wish that fence had big spikes that would be poking them in their bottom. Right? Because there's no fence to sit on.
No, there's not.
Right?
No child should be learning about those things. If you don't... Listen, even when your child watches TV or they use their little iPad and all these things, are you letting them watch these things?
No,
you're not.
So why are crazy?
This is what I'm saying.
So
why would you take them to school to get abused and exposed to such sexual things at such a young age? When I was in school, how old was I when they tried to teach us? I was in year 6 going to high school when they tried to say, oh, this is the time when you learn the sexual stuff. I wasn't even there that day. Can't remember why, but I weren't there.
The age of consent is what, 16?
16.
Yeah,
so
16, 18, around that age. So why would they need to learn that?
Do with any of that at 6?
But this is what I'm saying. 6. How come it's gone from 11 when you would learn first, and even then you didn't.
That's why they want to encourage. When your 6-year-old says they're a boy and they're a girl,
you must listen to them instead of telling them.
And again,
why not?
And again, these are the things which now there is a crossover between the politics and the church.
Yeah.
Because what they want you to do is say, well, this is the law, this is what the government is saying, you should listen.
Yes, Bibiana. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're correct.
That's correct. We should not be afraid to defend our beliefs.
No.
But you see, you've even got other preachers who are telling their fellow preacher that you should not be speaking like that.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't understand.
Why not?
What do you think?
I have it in front of my face every day. It's a picture of Tamar and Zakkai, and underneath is written Proverbs 22 verse 6. Train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it. Proverbs 22 verse 6.
Yeah.
Now, I think too many more of these preachers are not reading their Bibles. They've become hooked on miracles and prosperity, and they've forgotten about actually reading what the
They're
Bible
not
says
reading no Bible.
and understanding that we have to speak up. Muslims are not scared. Listen,
They're not scared at all.
we as Christians, we say that they're not correct in what they're following or what they're teaching or what they're believing, but yet they can speak up and speak on their behalf emphatically, and we don't.
Yeah.
And we're even being advised by other Christian preachers and teachers, keep your mouth shut because politics is not your domain. How can it not be?
Because my friend, she said that, isn't it funny? She said, look at she said exactly what you said. She said, when she said, why is it that, she said, the reason Christians, are taken, for fools and all these things is because, unlike the Muslims, we're just quiet. We're not saying nothing, or there's not enough of us saying something. Whereas the Muslims, you do one small thing to their community and they don't even want to do it because they're scared. Yeah. So if there was a what do they call the place that they go to? The mosque. That's it. So if there was a mosque, do you think in their right mind that any government, council, anything would be turning a mosque into a nightclub? They wouldn't even try.
No.
They wouldn't even try to even discuss it. Church now, nightclub, restaurant, all these kind of things.
Carpet selling, any kind of rubbish.
Any kind of thing in there.
Or just closed completely and nothing else is going on.
Yeah.
And you see, this is the reason why such things are happening is because the church is not speaking up on a political level, on a political basis.
Yeah.
So where we ought to speak and have a voice, we're being told, no, that's not your domain.
Yeah. Keep quiet.
How is it not our domain? The last time I looked, in fact, let me read it because, for those people who don't like the Bible, too bad for you because I'm going to read it. Right? So let me tell you what God Almighty said to us at the beginning of time. This is what he said. Then God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over the livestock and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Let me re-emphasize that again. Let them have dominion over all the earth. So whether you like it or not, the church has a right to speak politically. The church has a right to speak emphatically against what's wrong, because in fact, the Bible says that we should have dominion. Right? That's what God told us, that we must speak and say something about what's going on in the earth. Now, the problem is that because we've got too many selfish preachers with a selfish agenda, they are not speaking. Oh, well, I don't know if I should speak against that.
Yeah, because they're too scared.
So now we have issues like, for instance, there's a Episcopalian bishop. He is currently the bishop of Albany in the New York in the States, and the Episcopalian Church in the USA is the equivalent of the Anglican Church, more or less. So the Episcopalian Church have followed the law. Okay, this is why I'm saying that politics is in the church, and whether you like it or not, there needs to be a balance, and the balance is that we sit inside of it. So the Episcopalian Church have followed the law in the USA, the Baphomet agenda, where now you can marry people who are of the same sex. So you can perform a wedding ceremony for two men, and they are now, I don't know what, even husband and husband, whatever it's called, man and man.
Yeah,
you can perform a wedding ceremony for two women, and they are now wife and wife. You can perform a wedding ceremony for two non-binary, and they are now two vegetables or whatever they call themselves, right? So this is the thing. So now the bishop, the presiding bishop of the Episcopalian Church, I'm trying to look for nice words, right? The guy who preached the sermon that everybody was jumping up and down. Oh yes, it was a good sermon. At the wedding of Harry and
Oh, yes.
and Meghan the
Oh,
witch.
it's him.
That black man, Curry, is the presiding bishop of the Episcopalian Church in the United States. Now he reprimanded that bishop, the Bishop of Albany, because he refused. He said that he will not. He said he refuses. So in his diocese, he had refused to excuse me, to marry same sex. Politics is simply governance. Yeah, and that's correct. And the governance is also in the church.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, he had refused to marry the same sex people. He said he's not doing. Huh? Yeah, little chill.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'm all right because I got my jumper on.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the t-shirt.
My
So
turtleneck.
he said he was reprimanded, and he was then told that he would have to appear before a disciplinary committee, etc., etc. So he preempted it, and he said that he will not appear before the disciplinary committee. He resigned. So he is now. Yes, Gerald, it's a little chilly. He's now. In fact, I'm coming back. Let me put on the. Yeah, just chat on a bit.
Chat on.
Oh, you know.
Listen.
It's getting cold. It's winter now.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's winter now. Oh, my sleeves is rolled. Honestly, I think people need to not take what Christians need to not take what's going on so lightly.
Yeah,
I think because this is how they've done what they've done anyway. Because they make you feel like you have no right to say anything or you have no voice to say anything, and
everybody's choosing not to say anything.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Gerald said that.
There is no AC.
We don't have AC here. We only have heating and that's it. So when it's hot in the summer, that's it. You're stifling.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, I think too many people are thinking that we shouldn't be saying anything. But I just want to know, do they really think that when the time comes, when they stand before God, do they really think that God is just going to be saying, yeah, I understand it was a bit hard for you to, you know what I mean? You might have lost a few friends along the way and it's a bit hard for you to say something.
This is what is leading people to believe, though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the thing, it's true. Because if you use your common sense and your brain, then you would know that God has literally given us the authority to be able to say something when these things are happening. For us to be able to actually stand up and say, no, we don't agree to this. We don't conform to this. This is wrong. This is evil. And to expose what's really going on behind the things that these people are doing and the choices that they're making and the laws and all this stuff. Because nobody else is seeing it. We are the only ones who are seeing it. So we'd be fools to sit there and not say anything.
They're making them laws to suit themselves.
Of course.
And they look at dirty agendas.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and then Biden even chatting about, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. That's what he said. He said, you're not a real black person. What? Who? How can somebody
who is not a real person? So.
This is how can somebody who is some Ku Klux Klan leader, try to tell you that you are not black because you don't vote for him? Some nasty paedophile type of person. Please, I ain't got time.
His opinions don't mean nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not relevant.
But people actually, you guys.
Gerald's got the AC at 24.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said you
come here and enjoy the warm weather.
Just the blacks.
That's all right.
Yeah,
You came for the fair because
See where it's still hot even at Christmas Day. That's
Don't
what
worry. This is only temporary. We will fix it. So where were we?
Well, I was just saying that people are
Missing the point.
kidding themselves if they think that when they come before God, He's not going to be telling them, why weren't you saying something when you had the
loves his
chance?
cold drinks, of course.
Yeah. Do you know what
They
I
don't
mean?
change the temperature of the room.
No, it doesn't actually make you colder.
Yeah, they believe it does.
So yeah, that's what I was
So you
just saying.
see, here's the thing. I looked at somebody's page and they were really telling off preachers. Excuse me.
Taking it really serious.
You know, how dare you, try to influence people about voting and pick, you're cherry picking things. Do we have a choice? Because here's the thing, that if you have a platform or of any sort, albeit even if it's like this, a Facebook Live or an opportunity, should you then not say what you believe to be right?
Of course.
Because these guys who have their political agendas are doing exactly that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's as if they're saying, well, then, especially because you call yourself, the church, be a robot.
Yeah.
Keep quiet. But how does that work? Because let's say, for instance, like the guy who said, well, I will not marry the same sex couples.
Mm.
His presiding bishop has basically said to him, you'll do as you're told or we remove you. So he resigned.
Mhm.
So as of January, he will be out of his post. He's got 1 month vacation, and then he's out of the post. Probably out of the Episcopalian Church. Now, that's been his career. That's been his wages. We don't know. Maybe even if he owns the house that he's in, or if the house is given to him.
Applying to Gerald.
Yeah, Gerald is in the West Indies. Esh, he's not in the UK. That's why he's telling you about that weather. He's in the West Indies, so it's hot. So you see now. Here's the thing. Just because the law says that, and that's politics, isn't it? The law.
Yeah.
You must agree to marry,
Whoever
people
wants
of the
to
same
marry.
sex if they say so. So they come to you and tell you, two men come and sit down, we want you to sit down with us and we plan and we're having a wedding and you must do it. And if you don't do it right now, even here in the UK, you can be prosecuted.
Yeah.
There's a saying that they have in Jamaica, which Jamaican language is said, "Dopping off, you're frightened."
Mhm.
Now, to translate that for you, if you didn't understand me, basically it means that some people know where they think they should try and push their agenda. I have always said this: I will not argue and I will not fuss. If they came to me, I will tell them, yes, please come. Because just as they have their specifics of how they think it should be done, I also, well, just have to hang on a minute. I also have my specifics of what I believe must be done in front of that. So I will tell them the things that we require. And if at the end of that, they still can manage to stay and come for their wedding, there's no problem. I'm not going to give more details, but those who know me, they will understand that I believe in fire. So those who can stand the fire, that's fine. Right? So yeah, you come.
After that,
After that, there's no problem. You come for your wedding. Right? But I will not just sit down and roll over to satisfy the agenda of the world.
Yeah, but it's true.
It's not to each other.
And yes, Bibiana said God will provide for him, talking about the Episcopalian bishop. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe that there will
He
be
made the right
many
choice.
people who will support him in one way or another, whether it's you know, financially, physically, spiritually, etc. He has made a stand for quite some time now, and it's come to a head because they said now he would be, you know, disciplined, and you know, eventually expelled. So he refused, obviously, to be disciplined because he said, "How can I?" You know, this is what he said. How can I be disciplined for the word of God?
Yeah.
Right? We are supposed to be
Says it
preaching
right
and
there in the
teaching
Bible.
the word, and that's what it says. So now we've suddenly, and this is why I said that people have to understand, today's conversation may not be very flavorsome to some people, right? Because they have a different agenda.
Yeah.
So they will be saying, well, you know, we need to
This is not
follow.
inclusive.
We have to be inclusive. No, there's nowhere in the Bible
I'm
where it
not
tells me to
inclusive,
be inclusive.
Especially not to demons.
You know, there was a day we spoke about the rainbow, and
Yes, Steve. He
Yeah,
said
no bending,
no bending to the ways of the world.
you know,
Amen.
we were told
Amen.
we spoke about the rainbow,
Yeah.
and we said that,
yes.
you know, according to the Bible, I believe it's round about the book of Genesis chapter 9,
I think so.
where God introduced the rainbow
Mhm.
as a covenant. In fact, let me look, because
It's a covenant.
you know, today
Now it's used as
I'll use the Bible for those who don't like it. Well, today's just one of those days.
Well, it's in the title. We're talking about church. So
Isn't it?
if you didn't
Is
think
what it
there'd
is.
be any Bible, then
More for you.
I don't know what you thought was going.
Genesis chapter 8, I think.
I was thinking that when you said 9, you know, in my head I was thinking maybe it's 8 actually. I think it's 8. But I thought let me not say anything until you.
Well, no, I'm looking for it. I haven't seen it yet.
Fireworks.
No, it is 9.
It's 9. Oh yeah. Let's see.
Genesis chapter 9. God said, this is verse 12. This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a sign and a covenant between me and the earth. And this is what I said, that every time those whatever they're called, A, B, C, D, P people, right? Every time those people
Get excited.
and yes, somebody might say, oh, he's being flippant about their letters. Yes, I am, because it's foolishness. It is absolute foolishness, right? They watched that particular live that we did, and we said exactly what we just said. I said the rainbow is God's covenant between God and man.
Yes.
They said, oh, do you have rights to the rainbow?
Yes. Yes.
Right? And that I should keep quiet because I can't tell them what to do with the rainbow.
See what I mean? But why
See?
we can't tell you can't tell us? Guess what? We can't tell you.
But it's the same way round. And also, we have, if you want to talk about who has rights over the rainbow, we do. Because the Bible tells me that God said it is a covenant between God and man. And the reason why those particular people with the Baphomet agenda are using the rainbow is because it is a spirit of rebellion.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they want to disrespect the covenant of God. And what was the covenant of God? He told them when they came out of the ark, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Now, when you can show me how 2 men together can make a child, or 2 women together can make a child naturally, then we can talk again. It will never happen. It is not going to happen, and there is nothing you will do to make it happen. Right?
Exactly that. It just reminded me of that bit from Matilda.
What?
I'm big and you're small, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But it's the truth, and this is the thing. People don't want to hear the truth. At the end of the day, that is the truth. You cannot make any children, and because you cannot make any children, does it not tell you it's not
right.
meant to be?
It's not right.
And then they try to say all this rubbish about, oh, animals go to the opposite, to the same sex. No, they do not.
No, they don't.
And whatever
Whichever ones you've seen, it will be because you've done it,
Yeah.
or it will be because inside of that animal is one of the demons.
Yes.
Right, and that's why that has happened. Oh, Goods, if you're still there, tell us what you wanted to say, because
Oh yeah.
you didn't say anything. You just said you have a concern, but then you didn't
write
pose
another
your
comment.
question
Yeah.
or your comment. So if you're still there,
Let us know.
tell us what you're saying.
But it's true. I don't know what.
There are no animals doing that.
No, there's not, because they tried to say, oh, dolphins. But at the end of the day, the same way dogs do it to other, it's a sign of and a form of dominance. They're trying to take dominance over that smaller or whatever, smaller male or whatever. They're not doing it
but they're not
to
gonna
procreate or to reproduce.
No,
They're not doing it for
there's
that.
no such
Because
thing
it can't
happening.
happen.
That's what I'm saying.
And also, it's not all dogs even, it's some.
Some.
And I'm not a dog.
Exactly.
Right? Any of them who are dogs, that's their business. But I'm not a dog, and I don't believe that human beings are dogs.
No.
The male human being is not a dog, though some may behave like them. Right? So these are the things that this is what we need to understand.
That's what I'm saying, because even in plants, there's a male and there's a female. Well, the plants that are obviously more, complex, so to speak. There's male and there's female parts to it. So I don't understand why people can't grasp that concept, because
they can, but they don't want to.
Indoctrinated as well.
Yeah. See?
You've been what you're seeing on TV, what you're watching in films. Yeah, you've been brainwashed to believe it's normal. And now these young children that are growing up now in this generation, that's all I have to say, because all they're seeing on TV is, oh, man and man are kissing, man and man are going on date, woman and woman are kissing, woman and woman are going on date. This person's not even male or female, they're just nothing. This person's turning into a woman and they used to be a man. This person's turning into, do you know what I mean? This is all they're seeing, and it's everywhere, all the time, constantly.
People are marrying horses, people are marrying dogs,
and it's normal.
People are marrying dolphins, all these kind of things. And we're supposed to accept all of this as normal. Now, the only way that it becomes normal is in an abnormal world.
Yes.
But in a normal world, those things are abnormal.
Yeah.
Now, from a Christian perspective, from the church perspective, once again, we're told it has nothing to do with us. We should keep quiet. But yet the Bible tells us that God had an agenda from the beginning of creation of a man and a woman together to multiply and replenish the earth. And at no time at all did he change that.
Exactly.
So we cannot keep quiet, because then, even if we don't speak it on the street, within the context even of the church, what are you going to say in the church? Are you going to tell people in the church, oh, by the way, you young people who are growing up, if you want to, you can marry a horse?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell them that? Or are you going to teach them the right thing? If you are a young man, act like a young man. Pull up your trousers and keep them at your waist. And if you need to wear a belt and look like a man. Keep, you understand, right? And behave like a man. And when you get to an age, marry a woman. Or you're going to tell the young ladies the same thing. When you get to a certain age, marry a man. That's the agenda of the church.
Yeah.
Right? And that doesn't line up with the politics.
Yeah, there was a lady that came out and shared her story on Twitter, showing that she now had a child and a husband, but when she was young, she was gay. And she said that she went about her life. She said her family were Christians, of course, but she obviously rebelled from them and ran away, went to live her life of being a lesbian. And then she said that she wasn't happy, though. She was depressed and all these things. And she said one day God just said to her, stop this rubbish that you're doing. Yeah, and be what you're supposed to be. So then she said from that day forward, she just decided, no, I'm going to try to see if I can fall in love with a man, marry a man. And now look, she has a child and she's married to a man, and she no longer has any type of gay feelings or thoughts. And she's actually happy kind of thing. Well. Yeah, and she's happy now.
And it is a known fact that so many of those people who have so-called, what do they call it, gender dysphoria, they are struggling
with their, deeply
with depression. I can
They
tell.
don't
I
know
can.
how
I
to
can tell
live.
you this. Let me give you. Let me give you an example. Some may have heard this before on another live. I can't remember what I said before. But I've worked in the past in mental health quite extensively, and there was a man woman who came to one of the wards where I was working, and this person was born a woman. So that means she grew up as a girl and then became a woman with the bits and pieces that belong to a woman, right? So she has now decided somewhere along the line, I am a man. She had her breast surgically removed. So they have been chopped off. If they were supposed to be off, they wouldn't have grown in the first place.
Yeah.
And even we know some fatty men look like they have something, but it's still not the same. She removed them surgically, took them off clean. She then started taking hormones, so she was growing a little bit, a little bit of, you know,
a little bit of a beard,
a little bit of fluffy, you know, and trying
like a young
you know,
boy,
and trying to square up.
That's what it is that they're doing.
Trying to square up herself like she's a man. But
Trying to hold herself like a
the other part.
What's he working at?
Stop it.
The fireworks, I think.
Oh yeah, probably.
But the other part
Just be quiet. You're all right.
is still there. But come here. Come here.
He's a
Lay
bit
down.
scared, isn't he?
Lay down. Good boy.
It's all right.
Lay down. Lay down. Just lay
Just
down.
relax yourself.
Yeah, good boy. No, lay down.
You something else.
That's it. Lay down.
You don't need a
So this lady
lady
had come there, and she was scared of the males on the ward, but she was determined that she needs to be on a male ward. She can't be on a female ward because she's not a female.
She's not a woman. Yeah.
Right. So she's on a male ward, and she was scared of the males because, you know.
She's still got a woman's bit.
That's right. And the male patients would have really made sure that they investigated. You know, and this was the problem. This was the problem. You see? Now, this is the politics issue, because now then, you know, there were people who sat with her, you know, even Christians, and they were all skirting around the issue. What should we talk about? What should we say when she says something? Should we? And you know, that lady, that person, as it were, turned around and said to me, "Well, actually, you don't need a penis to be a man." And I looked at her and I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Are you okay?"
One of the defining things.
I said, "Are you okay?" I said, even babies, I said, even doctors, right? When the baby is born, they look.
Yeah.
And they turn around and tell the mother, "Oh, this is a boy or a girl because of what?"
Yeah.
Either he has a penis or he doesn't.
Yeah.
If he has a penis, the doctor says it's a boy.
Exactly.
If he doesn't have a penis, it says it's a girl.
That is the only distinction between children.
Unless unless it was born with both.
Yeah.
Right?
Every child, look, if you just saw a lineup of children and they all just had hair just chopped to here, you would not know which one is male, which one is female, unless you go to investigate those things, because all children look the same. They are all small.
Yeah.
But one is a male and one is female.
And this is the thing, that whether we like it or not, we have something that we have to say, because as the church, you're just going to sit back and say, okay, let the government tell us how to live.
How to raise
let the government
children.
tell us how to behave.
Yeah.
Let them even tell us what to preach.
Yeah.
And what to speak and what to
and
teach.
how to discipline.
Right? And it doesn't work like that. So that you will then get be in a position where even within your own household, you won't know what you should be telling to your children or grandchildren, because the government have a different agenda. No, we cannot look at it like that, because there is somewhere where you have to draw the line. Yeah, I think the network went off. I think we're back now. Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
they
It's
did.
them. It will be them.
Of course.
Yeah, hopefully we're okay now.
Can everybody hear clearly now? Or what's
Yeah,
the-
I think we're okay
so,
because
yeah.
I'd seen that it had gone. It had
Oh, it
gone
had
to
gone a
0
bit back.
people, then it's gone back now.
So
You
they
know.
tried to cut us off for a second there.
So the thing is this, that if you're going to argue the point and tell people do not have anything to do with politics because you're the church, how does that work?
It doesn't even make
Your
sense.
life revolves around politics because politicians are making decisions on your life every day.
How
Yeah.
to live,
You know,
where you
and
can go,
and some of those decisions that yes, some of those decisions that the politicians are making, they are having life consequences.
yeah,
You know, including what we're having now with this COVID business.
yeah.
So how can you then say, well, you know, the church just keep out of it? No,
what I
you
mean.
cannot. You cannot. You see the problem that we have up for it,
Yeah,
then they end up standing for
nothing.
literally nothing.
Yeah,
And why do I say that? Because if you are a Christian and you go to church and you are a child of God, then you have a right to defend what you believe in, just like you know, these witches and other people, you know, they
They're
defend
not-
what
they're
they
not
believe
scared
in.
to
They're not
defend.
scared to defend what they believe in.
no,
You know,
Not even for a second.
the Church
yeah.
of Satan and all these other
Yeah.
things, they do
fight
defend.
for their rights.
You know, I've spoken to many witches and Satanists over the years, and they are very happy to tell you exactly what they believe and what they do and what it means and all the rest. And so we also, as the church, and when I say the church, I'm talking, you know, real Christians, we must also stand up to defend what it is that God requires of us.
Yes.
You see, and where the system or the government is going astray and trying to lead us into a path that is not what it should be, we need to speak up.
Yes.
And it begins first in your own household, with your own children, with your own grandchildren. That's where it begins. Then, you know, with your own congregations or your own circle. And even on a political level, it needs to continue. You see, it needs to continue. We can't just agree with everything. Well, I want to go and become a leader in that church, and I'm married to a man, and I'm a man. You can't lead in my church.
No.
It will not happen.
No.
It is impossible. It will not happen. And there's no government whatsoever that will overrule that and enforce it. It cannot happen.
But this is what I mean.
That agenda is not going to happen. But there's many who are sitting on the fence. Oh, we don't want to offend. We
want to be inclusive.
We want to be an inclusive church and all these type of things.
Does it say in the Bible to be inclusive?
What in the world even do you mean by that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Dog.
Go on now. Go back. Go.
That is, it's because of that treat yet.
Go on.
Yeah, maybe he wants to go outside. Now he's looking with his tall self.
Is it raining?
Is it raining? I think it's stopped now.
No, it's just a little bit down.
Okay. Just
Stop.
relax.
He's not gonna go out.
He won't go out there like
No.
that.
No,
He
he'll
don't
be
like
too
them.
scared, won't he?
Can't back at him.
It took a long time for us to get used to them. But
Come on in here.
yeah, what Dad was saying is correct. You know,
Go and sit down over there. Nothing's happening to you.
what
Lay down
you
there.
can't just sit there and accept every
Lay down.
last little thing. You can't just sit there and accept every last little thing that's happening. I mean, we all like, look now, we're using our platforms to talk about things that are important and to share our views and etc. And they're doing the same thing to share their views. And if you ever saw how many witches, wizards, and all those kind of things are on Facebook and Instagram, and they're sharing all the things that they're doing.
Yeah, they're
all the
talking.
spiritual stuff.
That's right. They're talking about what they believe in and what they're
Yeah.
doing. And here's the thing: that every time, you know, we're told, don't talk about these things because this is not real. That's not real. Okay.
What's not real?
Says who?
But that's what I mean. And
Because, for instance, when people are going to go and do yoga and all these type of things, they're taught. They're taught about the spiritual aspect of man in those areas. But now all of a sudden, when the church begins to talk about the spiritual aspect of man, we're shut down.
Yeah,
It's fake.
you lot
Fuck
are
that.
crazy.
No.
Stuff.
What are you talking about?
And I don't understand these people. You sit there and you talk about, yeah, my chakras aren't aligned. You know, I need to go and get some Reiki and all this stuff. Yeah,
and they're happy with that, or they want to go and burn sage and well, not sage and onion.
That's what you always call it.
That's the stuff, isn't it?
They want to go burn sage around their feet. Listen, if those people actually knew what sage does, they would not burn it. Yeah, simple as that. They would not burn it.
No, but they do know.
Yeah, the real people that use it, the witches, there's a reason they use it.
They know.
That's what they do. When they say, oh, you know, when they have their little, what they call it, seances and with the little customers, they're not going to tell the customers, yeah, I'm calling them here. I'm just clearing the spiritual energy, when really they're bringing the demons and the spirits to their place. That scent is to allure them. It's not to throw them away. People need to know. Use your brain instead of just listening to these things that's on TV and all this, because that's what it is. You watch TV and that's what they're doing all the time. Oh yeah, I've gifted you some sage for your house and all these kind of things on programs, and people are there with the sage and then wondering why they can't sleep at night. Don't even get me started. It's a lot deeper than people are even realizing. They don't realize how deeply they've been brainwashed and indoctrinated into thinking all these things are not normal and these other things are. Yeah, it doesn't make no sense to me. Upside down. Yes, that's exactly what it's like at the moment. Almost like everything's upside down, and they're trying so very hard to just tip the last little bit of the scale onto their side.
And you imagine the agenda in terms of politics. They want the church to be in a position where you are told what to do and you just follow. Now, not even the Pope, because the Pope doesn't want to be told anything by anybody. So much so until the Pope, who, you know, lots of people, you mentioned the Pope, everybody knows who you're talking about. He's now telling people rubbish that comes into his head. And because he has a
just relax. It's okay.
Come here. Shush.
It's the war's going on or something. It's all right. Just relax.
Fireworks and they're disturbing the dog. It doesn't like it.
No.
Okay, lay down. Lay down.
He's trying to come over here. That's why he thinks he's funny.
Lay down.
Let's relax yourself.
Look at this fluffy. Yeah, but you see, this is the thing, that they want the church to just roll over and die.
Yeah,
you know, or
comply.
we must comply with the Pope because he's got the biggest voice.
Yeah,
you know.
That
whatever the Pope is saying, we must.
Yes,
that's right. The only one we need to obey is God Almighty.
Yeah.
That's right. But they want us to obey people like the Pope because he has a big platform. Of millions of people are listening to him and all of this type of thing. And he's saying all these things. And the thing is this, that quite a few things. He said that that atheists do not need to believe in God to go to heaven. That God will accept them.
No, he's not.
But hold on a minute. How can you go to heaven
if you don't believe it's there?
No, that's right. They're not going anywhere. They'll be floating in space.
Yeah, so the Pope is right. They don't have to believe in God because they'll just be floating until they get thrown into the lake. Right? And it's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't want to tell them the full truth because, of course, his agenda is not for the truth.
Yeah,
it's for his own business. Yeah.
It's not about truth.
No, it's not. It's about indoctrination, isn't it?
So when it comes down to it, right? Whichever way people are being told, some people have been told, don't get involved in politics. It's not for the church and this and that. Well, if let's say, for instance, that you work for the government, which many people have done. So when you go to work for the government, does it mean on the day when you're working for the government, you are not a Christian?
That's what I'm saying.
So for that Monday to Friday job, you're not a Christian.
Yeah.
And then you pick back up your Christianity on Saturday and Sunday. That is pure foolishness. You know, and it doesn't matter which kind of system you work in. I worked in the prison service, right? And for those who don't know, but you can use your imagination, it's probably one of the hardest jobs that you could find, right? But it was also very rewarding as well. Now, I happen to be one of the only, I wasn't the absolute only, but there were very few Christians within the prison where I worked. I also, at that time, was pastoring a church. So the first thing they start, how can you be pastoring a church and be a prison officer at the same time? How do those two things go together? You're locking people up and taking away their liberties, and then you're saying that you're a preacher. So how is that possible? How do you do that? And
this is the thing.
There are some who don't belong in there, but it's not for me to decide, because that question is as stupid as saying, why am I not the judge and or the jury? Which I was not. So it's not my decision that they're there.
That's what I mean.
My decision, or my responsibility rather, is to keep them there because they have now been committed there. Right? But keep them there with care, with dignity, with Christian principle and attitude. And this is the thing, because you know, I can say, certainly for me, that within my time working within the prison service, there's nobody in there who did not know that I was a Christian. To the point and intent where I even preached sermons in the prison. The chaplain invited me to preach in the chapel. I brought in 52 people for service, for choir. And I mean, we had service like it was just church. People were on the floor. You know, that we really did it. You know, so because we're not closing anything off that, oh, suddenly, you know, the next few days I won't be a Christian. No.
So do people think that once you go to prison, then you have no right to believe in God or be a Christian?
And this is it. And the same with the politics. That's why I brought it up. That
a lot of people actually find God.
Exactly. You can't disconnect all these things that, oh no, you know, the politicians are one thing and the Christians are another. Because you see, I think what it is that most of the politicians would like us to be Freemasons.
Yes, it's true. To be honest.
Telling a Christian not to get involved in politics is like telling someone not to smell food which is being cooked for the family because one did not mind.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. You can't live your life as a true Christian, following the true God Almighty and all those things, reading his word, trying to follow his word as best you can, and just not be involved in politics. It's not possible. It cannot happen. It does not happen. And that's why you see those prophets and those preachers who are involved in politics and say, God has told me, you know, this is what we should really be looking at, or this is who we should really be voting for. There barely anyone is following them or listening to them. Why do you think?
Or away from politics, though, in general.
You can't. This is what I'm saying.
Politics runs your life.
So that, if you don't watch TV, you're going to hear some people chatting on the bus
or
in the shop. Like, it's everywhere. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
You see,
so whether you
involve yourself or not, it's there. And I think the last point that I want to bring up, you know, we'll sort of close on that point in however many minutes it will go for, is the fact that I really do believe that the political agenda in general is to close the mouth of the church unless they are Freemasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is the issue, because they don't want people to be politically minded who will pray and seek the face of God
Yeah.
and go and hear what God has to say
Yeah.
about what should or shouldn't be done on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
What they want to do at the best is to not seek wisdom
Not
from
get anything
anybody,
from God
or
anything.
they follow necromancy and
Yeah.
spiritism,
Mhm.
and that's where they get their answers from.
Yeah, from
others.
You know,
They-
and that's
yeah.
by, when I say necromancy, for those who might not know, that's consultation of the dead.
Mhm.
You know, which has also become a very big thing now because of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Because of
Them witches.
those witches who founded Black Lives Matter
Mhm.
are busy telling people.
Yeah.
They're busy telling people
That's
that they
why.
should consult the dead, consult your ancestors,
Look
you
to
know,
your
and
ancestors.
all of
They're
this.
the ones with the
You see,
the
and this is the
answers
thing,
and all
that
this knowledge.
they have an agenda, which is why they say we want to keep these things separate, because we don't want to bring the hand of God into politics. We want it to stay out, but yet they want to bring the hand of politics into the
God.
church,
Yeah.
so that they will tell you how you should conduct your service,
Yeah.
tell you how and
Oh,
what,
not
you know,
allowed
the
to
type
go
of
to
people
church,
who
yeah.
should be there.
They're doing too much singing.
You know,
and dancing.
so for instance, now we're not allowed, from Thursday, we're not allowed to go and have anything in
Yeah.
church. No singing,
No,
no
nothing.
nothing. And you know, all these type of controls, which they say, it's just, this is what the government is saying. There has to be somebody who will stand up and speak against it.
Yeah.
You know, on the basis of, well, no, I object to that because I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
I object to my children being taught about, you know,
Baphomet
homosexual
agenda. And all
Baphomet
this.
agenda because I'm a Christian.
Yeah. And I don't support
You
that.
see, because when the Muslims, I know someone, a former colleague of mine, was a teacher, and the particular school where she was, there were quite a lot of Muslim children in the school, and also Muslim teachers.
Yeah.
So when they had, I believe it was Eid, I can't be 100% sure, but I think it was Eid.
Mm.
Um,
They're the first one of the year, isn't
they
it? Yeah.
they asked for time off, and they were given. First of all, they were asked. They asked when during the fasting. They asked for time to go and pray, and they were given. Then they asked for time off for the celebration, and they were given. So now this lady, she had the church conference coming up. You know, like convention, as we call it, convocation, convention.
Yeah.
Those of us who go, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And she asked them, she said, I would like those days off so that I can attend my church celebration.
Yeah.
And they refused her.
You see what I mean?
They said, no, you cannot, because that's not an important enough reason, etc., etc. And she said, but you allowed the Muslims to go and celebrate,
Yeah.
right? Because there's quite a few of them in the school. But she said, but that's discrimination.
Yes,
No, it is not. You are not allowed, and that's the final answer.
You see the rubbish.
So she then decided to take them to industrial tribunal for discrimination. And lo and behold, she won the case.
Of course.
And they had to give her the time off from then on. And they also had to pay her £8,000 compensation.
Praise the Lord.
Right? So this is why I'm saying that, and I'm not saying that because, okay, she got that £8,000 and, you know, but yes, she did. There are times when we must stand.
Yes.
And we must put our foot in the political arena.
And say, no,
you know,
we're not agreeing to this.
This is not happening.
Yeah.
We have a right to speak up. We have a right to advise people on who is a good candidate or who is not a good candidate.
Yeah.
We have a right to speak the truth about, for instance, when we look at the political arena and we see that there are people who are against God, we must expose that.
Yeah.
We must talk about that. we must talk about those who are against godly principles. That's the duty of the church. We must talk about those who are not supporting the church and who are rather obstructing the church. We do need to speak up about that. So, in conclusion, the whole agenda of the church in politics, politics in the church, yes, it is. The balance is that we sit right in the middle, and we are part of it and must always be.
Just relax yourself.
Yeah.
Head down.
That we must be part of it.
Relax yourself. You're slipping my foot now. You squeeze yourself.
We hope.
Yeah, look. I don't know what to do with myself.
We hope that what we've said has sparked interest for some. Yeah, we've had some good input from some people,
some
in
nice
the course
comments.
of the conversation. We're grateful for that. That's what we had asked for, that people would actually know. I can't do this.
Zeus, come back out.
We've actually had good content, and I'm hoping that it will allow people to speak clearly. I mean, okay, for those of us who are not in the USA, it's not such a big deal, maybe as of today, because we know those who are voting, they're voting, and but the after effects of those votes is going to hit all of us. And our turn is coming shortly for UK and other countries. So we can't deny it. We can't deny it, and we cannot allow them to make us afraid to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the biggest thing, that we have to object in those areas where we should. We cannot be allowed. We cannot be what's the word I'm looking for? Pushed. Against the wall, where we will not speak and say, well, because of the political agenda, I can't say anything.
This is what I'm saying. Use the dominion that God has given you from the start to be able to express yourself.
This is Bibiana saying it's a big deal. We have relatives there. Yes, I have family there too. Yes, that's right, in the States. So and even after that, the repercussions of whoever is in power there, has something to do with what goes on in the rest of the world. And this is the whole thing, that I think that we're probably not political enough. When it comes to the church, I think the church is not political enough, and we've got to teach young people as well, especially, to become much more involved in politics. The last thing that I do want to say, and it has happened in certain pockets in the world, but we need to encourage young people to be political to the extent where they will become councillors. They will become whatever the agenda, the type of thing is, it members of parliament. They'll become lawyers, political lawyers. They will, aspire for political office in every way, shape, and form as a Christian, and stand there with Christian principles. That's what we need, because whether we like it or not, the witches and wizards are going into politics.
And they're not even they're not
pretending when they get there.
No, they're not.
Right? So you will find that some of them will go into politics and their prayer will be Hail Satan. And they're not hiding that. So in the same way, we need to go in there as Christians and say, listen, our brothers and sisters need to step up. And become politicians. Aspire to become the mayor of your city, the leader of your city, whatever it may be, so that people will understand and know that the church, we have a voice, and that our voice will influence. And even if you're not in the politics, be aware of what's going on, be aware of the agenda of the day, and pray the correct things according to the will of God, so that whilst we are on the earth, we'll have a little bit of peace in the areas where we need to have it. So that's me. Anything else you want to say?
Not really. I mean, you've kind of summed it up exactly
Yeah.
that. I think people need to, use their voice that they've been given and stop thinking that we have no part in
Yeah.
do you know what I mean, saying something, or no part in sharing our view. We are just as important as everyone else is.
Yeah, exactly.
If we have to listen to these other people and be inclusive, then shouldn't
they-
it make
they should
sense
be
that
worked
they
both
have to
ways,
listen to us? They don't have a choice.
Mhm.
So I will use that against them
Yeah.
to be able to speak my truth and say what I want to say.
That's it.
So yeah,
That's it.
that's it really.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
God bless everyone.
Bless
See you next time.
Hush up.